Welcome back to Black News Tonight. If you're an avid Black News Tonight viewer, and who isn't? By now you already know the teaching of critical race theory has been banned in 7 states, and similar legislation is in the works in 20 more states. And according to a recent report by Media Matters for America, Fox News has mentioned the term critical race theory more than 1,900 times in the last 3.5 months. That means you get to hear the term about 18 times a day on Fox News. I've had numerous people on this show discussing critical race theory, from the mastermind of the anti-CRT campaign, Christopher Rufo, to Georgia gubernatorial candidate Vernon Jones. You remember him. He was the guy that looks like Mike Epps and talks like Mike Tyson. But I am afraid to say that we're still yet to get to the bottom of the question. So before I bring on my guest, I'd like to once again make it very clear. This is the Republican strategy for dealing with critical race theory. The first thing they do is they universalize critical race theory. That means that they take every single issue around race, every single conversation about difference, every single mention of slavery, every single story, every single thing that is about a difference of skin, difference of ethnicity, difference of identity, and they call it all critical race theory so that every conversation is about it. That's the first thing they do. So there's no nuance. Everything is critical race theory. Then the second thing they do is they demonize critical race theory. They tell you that it's a Marxist attack, as if that's inherently bad. They tell you that it's a right-wing or a left-wing, assault on America. They make you think that they're coming after your children. They make you think that America's going to catch on fire because of critical race theory. This is the exact same moral panic that they always do. 4 to 8 years ago, it was something else. Remember when they told us that that liberation theology was going to destroy us when President Obama was running for office? Remember when they told us that the idea that God might be on the side of the oppressed, that rich tradition of James Cone, that rich tradition of Howard Thurman, that rich tradition of black preachers and teachers who said that we can imagine that we are oppressed and that God is on our side? They perverted it and twisted it to make it seem like something was wrong, and they did it for votes. And at this very moment, they're taking critical race theory, an intellectual tradition born out of law schools, born out of critical legal studies, which is designed to do what? To examine the way that the law and public policy is shaped by race. It is presuming that there are intractable issues of race and racism in America. It presumes that we operate from this place and that we have to examine the law on those terms, even when it seems like something is facially neutral, even when it seems like the law is universal. There's still something specific going on. When your grandmom and your granddaddy and them or your great grandmom and great daddy and them were taking grandfather tests at the polls, when they had the grandfather clause at the polls, at the voting booths that said that you could vote if your grandfather voted. Yes, that was a universal law, but the grandparents of slaves, the grandparents of enslaved Africans were enslaved Africans. The grandparents of newly freed slaves were enslaved Africans. And so white people didn't have the same impact or didn't experience the same impact of those laws as black people did. What does that mean? It means that the law looks neutral, but it ain't neutral. And so again, that's what we're looking at now through critical race studies. Critical race studies is saying that yes, we operate at those intersections. It's not deciding that our destiny is completely shaped by race. It's not saying that all white people are ontologically evil. It's saying that we got to wrestle with this thing. And then the next thing that the conservative movement does, after they universalize it, they make everything critical race theory, right? After they demonize it, they create a moral panic. They then create a solution in search of a problem. They flat out lie. They make you think that there's a bunch of people in America running around teaching this in K-12 schools. They make you think that there's a bunch of people trying to teach your kindergartner about the intersectionality of race and racism at a college or law school level. Now, let's be clear. We need to talk about difference in elementary school. We've always talked about it. We just did it with white folk. When you were reading them Scott Forsman readers, Dick Jane and Spot C, Spot Run, C, Jane Go, that was race study. We taught the kids that what? what? That black people were non-existent. We taught people that America was white. We taught people that American race was normative. When you read those books, they were teaching you about race. So yes, when you read history books that ignored the contributions of black folk, when you saw the whitewashing of American settler colonialism, when they talked about slavery as if it was anything other than a moral atrocity, when they talked about the founding fathers, which is a patriarchal term, when they talked about the presidents of America, George Washington never told a lie, but didn't mention that he had slaves. They talked about Thomas Jefferson, and they might mention Sally Hemings, but act like it was a romance as opposed to an act of sexual violence, which is consistent with what black slave owners did to white folk. And when they ignore that stuff, they are whitewashing history. They are telling you a lie. And so, yes, we need to tell the truth in school. But that ain't critical race theory. Critical race theory is something else, but they make you think that critical race theory is happening in schools. Just like they make you think that there's a bunch of 6'8" trans girls trying to take over the girls' basketball team in your high school. Just like they make you think that the 1619 Project is being passed around like Das Kapital and a Communist Manifesto in junior high school. They create problems that are not there to excite people. To excite who? White people. To not just to excite them, but also to incite them. To get them to think that the America that they are invested in, that to make them think that American white supremacy is at stake. And these white people don't even think they're racist. These white people think that they're just going along to get along and they're just living their lives, but they don't appreciate the fact that when they walk through the world is white. When they turn on the TV, other than BNC, they ain't got to worry about whether or not the host is white. When they get a flesh-colored Band-Aid, they know it's going to look peach. It's going to look closer to their skin than my skin. They don't have to worry about the president not looking white. White presidents is 44-1. They understand that America is based on them, and if they don't have to. That's what white privilege is all about. And so they know that if you mention race in a country that doesn't want to deal with race, when you mention whiteness around white people who want to pretend that they don't have a race, then they know that they are going to get white people excited. We're losing the country. We're losing our vote. We're losing our freedom. We're losing our ability to be oppressors is what they really saying. And so when they go out here and make this critical race theory stuff, when they come out here and gin up white voters all around the country, they not doing it for 1619. They not even doing it for 2021. They doing it for 2022 and 2024 because they know a bunch of disaffected, angry white people are going to go into them polls and they're going to vote against their own interests. They are going to accumulate what the great W.E.B. Du Bois talked about in Black Reconstruction. Read it, 1935, was magisterial text. What he talked about is the psychological wages of whiteness. He knows that white people will vote against their interests. He knows that white people will choose whiteness instead of their own money. That's why white folk vote for Trump. That's why white folk vote for the Bush tax cuts, even though they broke as the 10 Commandments. Because they know that whiteness, as critical race theory teaches us, functions like property. So don't let them fool you, family. This ain't about critical race theory. This is about preserving whiteness. Be sure to join the conversation. We want to hear from you. Make sure you head over to our BNC Instagram and Twitter pages. Let us know how you feel. Also, visit our website, bnc.tv, and subscribe to our YouTube page to check out clips from the show.